Chelsea are in a heap of trouble after Thomas Tuchel's men were held to a draw by a plucky Brighton side. And it's clear that the reigning European champs are lacking more than just one thing that's going to ruin all the good work they did at the start of the season. We're going to discuss whatever it is that's ailing the residents of Stamford Bridge. Real Madrid, on the other hand, are preparing for a huge downsizing this winter, as Los Blancos look to prepare for a major spending spree in the summer transfer window. Ousmane Dembele has reportedly decided that he will be taking his toys somewhere else once his contract with the Blaugrana expires. That was something we'd been fearing, and it's about to happen. Ajax Amsterdam might be flying high in the Netherlands and in Europe, but the reigning Dutch champions want to be busy in the upcoming January transfer window. Raphael Varane returned from injury against Newcastle United and was at fault for the opening goal of the game. However, Ralf Rangnick has defended his star centre-back. Before we get started, we want to share the sponsor of today's video. The OneFootball app is the ultimate football platform and is a must-have for every football fan, so that you can follow all of your favourite leagues, teams and players all the time right from your phone. You can be sure to turn on notifications for specific players to be instantly alerted when they score a goal or when they're involved in other breaking news. It is the best and easiest way to stay up to date with everything football. Click the link in the description down below to download the app right now. You won't regret it. Returning from injury after a 2-month absence, Raphael Varane experienced a bad moment against Newcastle. Ralf Rangnick has stepped up to defend his experienced defender. Manchester United undoubtedly made a good move by recruiting Varane last summer. For now though, the Frenchman has shown a level resembling his last few months at Real Madrid. That is to say, not terrible. The Imperial Varane of the 2018 World Cup is now a long way off, and it's true that a change of club in a career that spanned 10 years in Spain will take some time to sink in. After half a season in England, the central defender is like his club, inconsistent. In addition to that, he suffered 2 relatively major injuries, one in the groin and especially the second one, which was his hamstring, depriving him of 2 months of competition. Back against Newcastle, the Frenchman spent a complicated afternoon as United were held to a 1-1 draw. It was Varane who was responsible for losing possession that led to Alain Saint-Maximin's goal. However, Rangnick wants to go easy on his player and had this to say ahead of the game against Burnley. Raphael hasn't played in the last 5 or 6 weeks, even before the Tottenham game he was injured. Yes, he made a mistake before the first goal, but other than that, I think he was okay. I wouldn't say that he was exceptional, and that goes for Harry Maguire too, but they were okay. Clearly, the German is willing to give Varane some time to get back to his usual best. With 6 wins in 6 matches, Ajax Amsterdam's adventure in the Champions League has been impressive. With a prodigious strike force, Erik ten Hag's team are at their best since the 2018-19 season when they reached the semi-finals of the competition, in addition to winning a national double. Faced with a strong battle in the second half of the league season, the Rode Zone are also aiming for a new epic in Champions League. With this in mind, the sporting director, Mark Overmars, is active in the transfer window to find reinforcements, especially the African Cup of Nations, which will be played from January 9th to February 6th, 2022. Erik ten Hag has quite a few African players in his squad, such as Andre Onana from Cameroon, Sébastien Haller from the Ivory Coast, and Mohamed Kudus from Ghana, who have been selected for the competition even if the club opposes the departure of the latter. The former Midtjylland man has suffered a lot of injuries for a year and a half, and Ajax believe that participating in the African Cup of Nations will put him in a delicate situation. While waiting to know if he will compete or not, the Dutch Giants will have to strengthen accordingly. This is good, since a first recruit could be on the way. After leaving the club for free last summer, Brian Brobby has struggled with RB Leipzig. An agreement for a loan might have already been reached, and all that's missing is a formal announcement. Besides this, several other targets have been set, as the star right-back, Noussair Mazraoui, will be a free agent at the end of the season, and Barcelona will be ready to make their move according to AS, and might even be willing to make an exchange with Sergiño Dest. A return to the club where he shone could also revive the American international's career. In goal, Andre Onana, who will go to the African Cup of Nations, will be a free agent at the end of the season. Remco Pasveer proved in the first half of the season that he can be a great number 1. Nevertheless, he is a short-term solution at the age of 38. This means that Ajax are still interested in Dean Henderson, who could be placed on the transfer list by the Red Devils. Similarly, the club is also exploring the possibility of signing Christian Eriksen, who was released by Inter Milan following his cardiac arrest last summer at the Euros. After a very good start to the season, with the return of Carlo Ancelotti at the dugout, Real Madrid lead La Liga with 46 points and will play the knockout stages of the Champions League against PSG. The Spanish Giants are set to be very busy next summer, but will first have to carry out a large degreasing this winter in order to achieve their galactic ambitions. It's simple. Real want to end association with 5 players during this winter transfer window. The first player is on a lucrative deal at the club with €13 million per year, and that's Gareth Bale. The Welshman is not really in Ancelotti's plans, and parting with him in January would be a good thing, as he comes to the end of his contract next June. The same situation for Isco, who is rarely used by his coach with only 1 start out of 7 matches played. The Spaniards is in the sights of Newcastle, who will have to spend a lot in the transfer window to stay in the Premier League. The English club will still have to face competition from Sevilla in this case. Almost forgotten since his return in 2018, Mariano Diaz must find a way out this winter. Except that the suitors are not many, and his case will particularly annoy the management of Madrid. A luxury replacement, Luka Jovic, is far from being the player that he was expected to be, except that the Serbian still has age on his side, so if a good offer arrives on the table, then Madrid will sell him. And finally, it's a thorny issue that will have to be managed by Florentino Perez and Carlo Ancelotti, that of Eden Hazard. The Belgian has been disappointing since his arrival with repeated physical problems, so the club from the Spanish capital is trying to get rid of him at all costs. If a suitable offer is made, the former Chelsea man will be pushed out. In short, Real want to greatly reduce their workforce and have already designated its undesirables. It's one of the soap operas of the moment in Barcelona, especially since it is an issue that's slightly starting to annoy the socios. A recent survey published by Mundo Deportivo also indicated that 75% of socios questioned by the newspaper wanted Dembele to pack his bags. And obviously, the latest information from Catalonia will make them happy. Various media and journalists thus indicate that the decision has been made. Dembele will not extend his contract with the Catalan club. A meeting took place this week between the players' clan and the Barcelona management, and no agreement could be found. The positions of the two camps are far too distant for all of this to lead to the signing of a new contract. Journalist Gerard Romero, particularly knowledgeable at the moment, says the players' demands were way too high. Dembele's entourage demanded a Ballon d'Or-worthy salary for the France international. We can now reveal to you that the player wanted €40 million gross annually, as well as a signing bonus of €40 million, and that he will accept to extend only under those conditions. It remains to be seen whether Barca will want to part ways this winter, since they don't have the financial power any longer to allow players to leave as free agents. Chelsea failed to dispose of Brighton on Wednesday night, and this allowed Manchester City to soar to the top of the Premier League. Danny Welbeck's equaliser in the 91st minute put the Blues 8 points behind the Sky Blues, a result which is in itself deserved, as Brighton posed problems for Chelsea in a highly competitive match. The result against Brighton wasn't the only blow for Chelsea, as they suffered 2 first-half injuries which forced defensive substitutions. Thomas Tuchel had already dealt with injury and viral crises in recent weeks, with several midfielders and forwards missing, but now Reece James and Andreas Christensen are joining Ben Chilwell as defenders on the sidelines. Immediately afterwards, Tuchel told TalkSport's Alex Crook, we have struggled for the moment, it was clear before. With Manchester City enjoying a decent lead at the top of the league table and Liverpool faltering against Leicester City, the onus was on the Blues to add a bit of consistency to their results. They haven't done well in the last few weeks. From the injuries to Ben Chilwell, whose season is over once he goes through an ACL surgery, to the lack of goals up front, the London Giants' campaign is slowly imploding. They host Liverpool in their next encounter, and anything less than a win is simply going to end their dreams of competing for the title. City have been really very good this season, and Pep Guardiola's men have rarely had a bad outing. This is why there is an added pressure on the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool to keep the flame burning. However, this has not been the case, and we believe that the league title is City's to lose. For Chelsea, as long as they don't return to their usual best, there might even be a feeling that they could drop out of the top 4, especially if Arsenal continue their recent run of form and Tottenham and Manchester United start to play with a bit more consistency.